Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to my first webinar. We're going to let some other people trickle in here. Whether you're watching this on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter, or you're watching this somewhere else afterwards, thank you and welcome. I want to give a special shout out to Kinyo. Kinyo, you did a great job setting up this webinar. For those of you that haven't done webinars or consume a lot of webinars, but you don't know how they work, there's a lot that goes into them. As you'll see, a lot of the cool features and making this dynamic, we worked on this particular Kinyo. So kudos, Kinyo. Good job. Today's webinar is on LinkedIn, how to build a flourishing brand on LinkedIn. I've been dabbling with LinkedIn over the past, let's say, 5 years or so. And most of you who are watching this right now, you have a presence on LinkedIn, right? You maybe have a profile, but there's a particular way that you can really get value out of LinkedIn, um, but you do have to put in the effort. And so this webinar is perfect for anybody who's looking to grow your personal brand for a variety of different reasons. You could be wanting to get more clients. You could be wanting to get hired for a particular job. Maybe you're starting your career. Maybe you're trying to get more PR, so more press. LinkedIn is a great place to do that because you can sort of have a dynamic resume by posting your authoritative content on LinkedIn and get discovered by journalists and potential media companies. So lots of opportunities with LinkedIn. A little bit of housekeeping. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below the post, wherever you're watching this. Facebook comments, LinkedIn comments, YouTube comments, Twitter, reply tweet, and it will appear here, and we can answer them throughout the webinar. I also encourage you to invite any of your colleagues or coworkers or friends to this. You can just share the link, direct message somebody, any of that. But without further ado, let's get started. We got a lot to get to, and we got an hour to do it. Okay, so Kenyo, I can't remember how we're going to do it, but there is a worksheet that goes along with this webinar. I'm going to share it as we speak. Let's see, slides, webinar, and here we go. Oh, great. So scan the QR code right here, and you can get access to the workbook here, the worksheet that I got ahead on, but it's a Google Slides or PowerPoint. You can make a copy, you can download it, and I'll give you a little sneak peek. I'll skip ahead here. You can see the section on the right-hand side where it says begin typing your plan here. When I've attended webinars, a lot of times they'll come with, some guide or something like that, right? Like download the ebook or something, and afterwards, and that's great. There's a tutorial. But what I often thought would be more helpful is as I'm taking the webinar, if I can sort of follow along and type actionable steps that are right for me based on whatever the person is teaching me right then and there on that document, so that when I'm done, I have sort of my notes and plan, action, examples, whatever I pick up throughout the webinar right on the document, so that afterwards, I don't have to try to remember or go back like, oh, what was the example that they used? And then go back to the video. So that's why we have this space here. So you can simply scan the code, download, make a copy of this, download it if you want, or edit it right in your own Google Slides or PowerPoint, and use your notes and type your plan out as we're going through this actual webinar. All right. So let's dive in. Let me go back here. Okay, at the beginning, there's an outline, so you can go quickly through as you're following along. You can click go, and it will go to that section, or if you get lost or something like that, or have to leave and come back, you can use this outline to quickly get to the section that I'm talking about. So quick overview, LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn's been around for a long time, but it's basically been an online resume for the majority of its lifetime, up until I'd say maybe 2019, where they started to come out with some dynamic features. They put more of an emphasis on video for a little while. They allowed long form articles. So they did some things that other social media platforms don't do, right? Typically you look at like a TikTok or an Instagram or something like that, and they copy the features. One comes out with a really popular feature, and then the other ones copy it. Facebook does this all the time. Twitter tries to do this. They all copy each other. LinkedIn doesn't do this as much. They tried their own stories feature. It didn't really work. I think they got rid of it. But for the most part, they try to fill in the gaps. So they put an emphasis on allowing you to build your newsletter and long form written content. They found that text only posts are really engaging. So text only posts they do really well. Whereas other platforms put more weight on video and graphics and visuals, right? So LinkedIn tries to do this a little bit different. The other reason it's different is that it is a professional network, as you all know. So uh, you don't have as much competition as the other platforms. And even though you might be in the B2B space or you might be the CEO of a manufacturing company, growing your personal brand is only going to help you. Some people don't want to do it, and that's fine. But if your goal is advancement in today's age, and you are looking to progress your own company, you can very easily do that by growing your personal brand. And that's what this whole webinar is all about: how to use LinkedIn specifically to grow authority and to grow your personal brand, and how that would then result in actual business or opportunity for you. So let's dive in. So I'm going to switch this, hopefully make myself a little smaller. There we go. Okay. So hopefully you all have the document now. If not, we could pop it up a few times throughout this. If you're just jumping in, you could also leave a comment if you don't have this guide that I'm going through, and we can make sure we hook you up. Quick reminder or quick announcement: next week, next Friday, we'll be doing the second webinar. It's on how to increase the conversions on your website. At Good Monster, at our agency, it's one of the pillars, the foundational concepts that we operate off of. It's making sure that your owned property, if you're an e-commerce company or even a B2B company, making sure that your website is fully optimized for conversions. Otherwise, there's no reason to run hundreds of thousands of dollars in ads or PPC or spend money on billboards or anything else, because all of that money and effort that you're creating, if somebody gets to your website, which is where you're leading them to, and it's doesn't have a good user experience, it's not upselling, cross-selling, if it's not squeezing all of the value that is possible out of it, then you're losing money. You're losing opportunities. So next week, we're going to be talking about how to really fully optimize your website for conversions, whether you're trying to convert leads as a B2B company or whether you're trying to convert sales as a D2C or e-commerce company. So go ahead, scan the code that you see here, and you can sign up for that. It's free. These are all free. There's no paywall or anything like that. So go ahead and sign up there. Okay. So let's get into it. First page here, why this won't work. So if you're watching this right now, you're probably interested, right? You probably wish you could utilize LinkedIn a little bit more to generate a little bit more business or opportunity or get you more jobs. Okay. But there's some specific reasons why this wouldn't work. And these are common for any platform, any effort, really. It's not independent to LinkedIn, but just like everything else, this is going to take some time. So there's no way around that. Actually, I shouldn't say that. The only way around that is to build a team, which I've been fortunate enough to have and really been organized to help me build a system to put out a lot of content and try to build authority on LinkedIn, among other social media networks. But if you don't have a team now, it has to take time. It's either time or money, just again, like a lot of other things in business. So you have to be able to be comfortable or digest the fact that, okay, this is going to be an investment in my time. It's not going to take a ton of time. In fact, I'm going to give you some tips on how to save some time. But in order to actually build a personal brand that people pay attention to, you're going to have to spend some time. You're going to have to figure out, what content do you like to write or film or put out? What kind of conversations do you like to have? And outside of what you like to have, what is your goal with LinkedIn, and how can you measure the things that you're doing and if it maps to that goal? So regardless, this is going to take a little bit of time by either just you or you and your team, or you and anybody you have or bring on to help you. Okay. One of the best things that I did to create more content and have a concerted effort into building my personal brand was to schedule it in my calendar. So quick pro tip right here. I schedule things into my calendar. I change the colors in them so that they don't become comfortable. I know you all know this if you use a Google Calendar or Microsoft Calendar. that if you have something in there that is always orange, right? The color is always orange, but the title changes. Our brains become used to seeing something, they become comfortable. And so it's easy to gloss over appointments or, sort of forget about them if they're all the same color or always reoccurring as the same exact uh, title. So what I try to do is I try to change it. So a quick little tip here, schedule this, look at me now, and then put in their LinkedIn content creation and community management. Schedule, a half an hour or an hour every day, or maybe an hour every other day to dedicate to building your brand and creating content for LinkedIn. It will help you. It will help it stand out a little bit more. And then the following week, you can change the title or you can change the color so that it looks fresh and new. But this has helped me a ton. I have wicked ADD, and so it's hard to stay focused on anything really. So I have to really try to make sure that things catch my attention, especially in my calendar. So this has helped me quite a bit. Scheduling that in, staying focused and dedicated to it, and making sure that you're just staying consistent. If you get bored, like I do, you have to always continuously remind yourself that this is leading to something. This is leading to my goal. I want to grow my business. I want to get that, VP job, and this is going to help me get it. Another reason why this won't work is if you have the creep in your head of uh, why do people care, right? Why should I put out content? It's going to seem self-promotional. It's going to seem like I have an ego. This is super common. I talk to business owners all the time that are like, I don't want to post on social media. Like nobody cares what I have to say. It's just going to seem like I'm selling all the time. In this webinar, I'm going to show you some real examples, some real life examples of people that are promoting themselves, but they're doing it in a way that's gratitude driven. It's empathetic. They're not just boosting like, oh, look at me, look at what I'm good at, but it's more about like, here's the culture I'm building, or, thank you to my company for having such great teammates for me to work with. Gratitude driven content that is showing off the amazing things that are happening in and around you professionally is amazing content. And it's inspiring. People don't think, oh, they're just trying to sell their company. They would think, oh, they're just trying to sell their company if all the time you're posting, hey, get 50% off of our, get 50% off of our, whatever services. Get this discount, or hey, we're launching this new product. You can get it here. If you're specifically trying to sell, then it does seem salesy, right? But if you're staying gratitude driven, you're telling stories, some of the things that I'm going to get into in today's webinar, then it is not ego driven. People will not think that you're just trying to sell them. They'll be attracted to it because you're hopefully going to be relatable, and there's people out there that are going to relate with what you're talking about. So in the right-hand section here of this workbook, I want you to try to type in some of, if you don't want to do it in here, you can write your notes on the side, but type in your plan of how you only know you the best, right? If you get easily distracted like me, you can take some of my suggestions. If you're a super focused person and you go all in on a particular project, this might be easier for you to adopt and get going right away. But write in your plan of how you're going to stay consistent. Are you going to put it into your calendar? How often can you do it? You might be in between jobs right now, so you've got all the time in the world. You might have a full-time job and 3 kids, and so you don't have that much time at all. So try to schedule this into your calendar in a way that you can maintain and stay consistent. But consistency is the key. In fact, if I was consistent when I first started posting on LinkedIn, most likely I would have a much bigger brand and probably more business growth from it, because the inconsistency that I did have still brought in actual business, hundreds of thousands of dollars in actual business just from me putting out content on LinkedIn. But I'll get into that in a moment too. Okay, so write in your plan. How are you going to stay consistent? How often are you going to do it? And I would also suggest that you put in reasons that I couldn't stay consistent and maybe ways to overcome those, right? So what are the reasons? Some of the reasons that I wasn't able to stay consistent at the beginning were we got busy. So I mentioned that we actually got business from LinkedIn. So, I was posting on LinkedIn among other social media platforms, creating content, and we got new clients at Good Monster. And I had to dive into strategy and content production, content marketing just sort of went to the side. So that was a problem. I could see that happening in the future. In fact, my team and I have talked about it, and I've come up with a plan. We've come up with a plan to make sure that if we get a ton of clients that all need strategy all at the same time, that we have the team in place to be able to handle that, so that I can continue to create content. Right. So build in your contingency plan if life gets in the way. Okay, next slide here. Let me make this a little bigger. Okay, why LinkedIn and not TikTok or Instagram, let's say? Okay, you hear a lot about all these social media platforms. TikTok's the fastest growing social media platform on the planet, I think, or at least in the United States. Instagram's probably one of the more popular ones for everything. It's like a catch-all platform. Now, the obvious reason is LinkedIn is more of a professional network, whereas TikTok and Instagram are typically a little bit more of a consumerism type. They're consumer platforms. You go to TikTok for entertainment or inspiration. You go to Instagram for entertainment, inspiration, possibly even products, and brands, connecting with them over there. And then there's other ones, Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, things like that. But LinkedIn specifically, there's a few reasons beyond just the fact that it's a professional network. One is, you can see in the pro tip, is it's still in its infancy, not in terms of time. LinkedIn's been around for a long time, but it's in its infancy in terms of potential. For whatever reason, Microsoft, which purchased LinkedIn a few years ago, hasn't really built out LinkedIn's full capabilities. I've been saying for a few years now, I feel like, and I've heard rumors that LinkedIn's going to put more effort into video. And we can see some evidence of that in some of the courses that they're starting to release and dabbling with, video courses. You can take them for free. So I still think that LinkedIn will eventually put more of an effort into tutorial, how-to driven content on LinkedIn, video content on LinkedIn. And I think that'll bleed over to guides. So ebooks, things like that can be built directly into LinkedIn. We saw a little bit of this with SlideShare. So LinkedIn acquired slideshare.net a while ago. SlideShare is basically like this PowerPoint that you're looking at right now. You can upload it onto SlideShare, but they never really used it. They never really implemented it in a way that was meaningful and engaging. So there's still so much potential. The other reason there's potential is that people still don't realize how much room there is for content creators on LinkedIn. Most people on LinkedIn right now are still using it to maybe see some industry news or local news, in the business community, sort of using it like a local business journal, if you will. And people are posting some good, company culture and awards and hiring and growth. They're still posting that kind of stuff, but there's not a lot of people that are posting tutorial driven content. Okay. You can use my LinkedIn as an example. I'm putting out much more content about e-commerce and things that are related to e-commerce because a goal of mine is to build my personal brand as an authority in e-commerce so that, excuse me, so that companies and their leaders trust me enough to eventually hire Good Monster. That's the goal, right? I'll get into goals in just a moment, but I'm putting out content. I'm creating videos, graphics, writing long form newsletter articles, all surrounding this topic. And there's still not very many people, when you look at the total number of LinkedIn users, that are writing content, that are filming video content and putting it out, that are making graphics or infographics that are helpful in building their own authority. There's just not, when you look at other platforms like Instagram and TikTok and the amount of effort that people are putting into their brands there. So there's still so much room. And the other benefit here is that all of this content is building authority in a business environment. So whether you are a leader, an owner, a CEO, or C-level, uh, and your goal is to sort of build your authority to trickle down into your company, or whether you're entry level, just graduated college or still in college, and you're looking to sort of build your reputation in order to get job opportunities, there's so much room for you to do this. And the best part is you don't need to be a massive influencer for this to work. Um, I don't want to I don't want to give away the exact case necessarily, but when I was posting on LinkedIn, let's say 2 or 3 years ago, I was only getting a few likes and no comments on my content, but I actually got more than one new client for our business because of those posts. So the point here is that it only takes one person to be inspired by your content who says, "Yep, I'm going to go hire them," for this to actually have an ROI. It doesn't take uh, millions of views or hundreds of thousands of views or likes or followers like YouTube, like uh, TikTok or Instagram in most cases. So there's lots of room. There's little competition in most spaces on LinkedIn for the types of content that you want to put out and the goals that you have. And the platform itself is primed to grow. And I think over the next couple of years, if not sooner, Microsoft and LinkedIn will start to roll out more features that put heavier emphasis on creators, people creating content. The last thing I will leave you with in the evidence on this section is that LinkedIn recently released creator tools. And creator tools, historically, when done on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and the other platforms, that means that they are about to put a lot of emphasis on people creating content. They have a goal of getting more content, more valuable content onto their platform. And so they're going to support the people that are creating it by making them discoverable, by showing them to more people in the community. So now is the time to start creating because LinkedIn is prime for growth. So in the section to the right here, go ahead and start creating your plan. Start creating your plan on what you want to create on LinkedIn. What industry do you want to have an authority in? What type of job do you want to get? Just start writing out, why do I want to grow my personal brand on LinkedIn? So that you have a record here of what you want to do to stay accountable to it. Okay. Next slide here. Why your colleagues are getting more engagement than you. So I get this question. We do consulting for a few business leaders on their own LinkedIn and how to grow their own personal brand. And I get this question quite a bit. Why do I post every day, twice a day? But here's somebody, a competitor, a CEO of a competing company or something like that. They post once every 2 months and their posts blow up. Why is that? Well, there's a variety of different reasons. Number one, LinkedIn's algorithm promotes or prioritizes based on company and company data. So a company that earns a lot of revenue, let's use a public company for instance. A CEO of a public company is going to get much more engagement and love on their post than a janitor for a high school. No offense to janitors at high school, at a local high school, but LinkedIn views that as, okay, here's this public company earning billions of dollars in revenue. They have investors and shareholders. They have probably, thousands of employees. And here's the leader of this company. Probably what they are sharing is going to be valuable for our audience. So we're going to promote them a little bit more. We're going to give their post a little bit more love and reach and legs to kind of run on. So we're going to feature that in our news feed. Okay, so that's one. Also, somebody who has a historic track record of creating good content. So this could be the high school janitor that's always putting out funny pictures or insights, in text posts that people constantly engage on. But in order to do that, that's probably happened over the course of years. They've probably been doing that and slowly gathering their engagement. So LinkedIn will feature these a little bit more. So either company size, type of role or position. As I mentioned, the CEO of a public company is going to get a lot more engagement just by the algorithm versus an entry-level intern at that company, let's say. I want you to think about one thing, though, and you've all seen it. There's posts on LinkedIn from said intern that is really inspiring. Maybe they told a story, a long form, which is what I love about LinkedIn, the long form type, copy, a long form post that they said about how hard their childhood was, challenges that they overcame, confidence issues, things that they struggled with all the way throughout their life, leading up to this moment where they finally graduated college. They thought they never could, and they finally got an internship at their dream company. That type of post is perfect for LinkedIn. And not to make it sound like you're trying to hack the system and tell a fake story in order to get engagement, although people do that quite a bit. But that story is super inspiring, whether other people are relating to that story, other people think back to their childhood and can relate to that story, or it's just inspiring and people want to encourage that person to keep going. So they'll comment, they'll say, "Great job, keep going." They'll share that on their own LinkedIn and say, "Look at this story. She overcame all the odds and bam, she made it. She's crushing it." Those types of stories do well. So that intern maybe never posted on LinkedIn before. They posted that one thing for the first time and it's got 26,000 likes, was shown to 1 million people, and it went viral on LinkedIn. That very well can happen and happens all the time. Not to say you should chase that, but that type of content can help drastically boost your value in terms of LinkedIn's eyes. But going back to the beginning, you have to stay consistent. You can't just hit a home run and then expect that every single at bat you have after that is going to be another home run. You got to keep trying. You got to keep going. You got to tell good stories. You have to put out valuable content. It's the same with every social media platform. It's just, as I said, LinkedIn, you have a much better chance because it's not as competitive. So pro tip, take little bits of inspiration from everyone, and here's the key, and here's something I struggled with when creating content at the start when I first started to do it. Try not to compare yourself to anybody. And I know this is really hard to do, especially in the social media age that we live in, but look at other people, look at competitors that are getting, that are bigger than you, more revenue than you, growing faster than you, whether you're the leader of a company or you're working at a company or somebody got a promotion and you didn't. Try to take inspiration from the content that they're putting out, but don't compare yourself to them, because then you get into, oh, that should be me. I should be doing that. I should be getting 100 likes on my post. It's a very slippery slope. It's a bad space to get into. We see this happening with influencers on other platforms all the time. So take inspiration. Why did that post do really well? Well, it's inspiring, or it's super valuable, super relatable. People can actually take actionable advice from the video that this person took out or filmed rather. So take inspiration, but don't compare yourself. All right. In the section to the right, my suggestion is that you write in some of the names of people or companies that you have seen on LinkedIn that you either get inspired by, or you wish you were like, or you wish you got a good results, or even some big kind of name influencers like Richard Branson or Gary Vaynerchuk or whoever else on LinkedIn that you admire and or respect or wish you could create content like. And so you can go and sort of study them and see what kind of content they're putting out. And then as we get through this webinar into some other slides, I'll teach you how you can sort of use that inspiration, ball that up, and then deploy that into growing your own personal brand. So write those names in this section to the right. Okay. Okay, next, set a singular mission. When you're going to tackle anything new, it's overwhelming. Whether you're trying to become, a amateur mechanic on your car and learn how to fix your own car or fix your own house or grow your own personal brand on LinkedIn. There's a lot of different ways to do it. There's a lot of different features and things that you can use. And there's a lot of different outcomes that could come from this. So my suggestion, and by the way, everything I'm telling you are things that I went through when approaching and still grow through today, trying to grow my personal brand. So what I would suggest you do, and what I did for myself, is to set a singular mission. What is the single thing that I want to get out of LinkedIn specifically? Okay. I have a different mission for my overall content marketing plan, but specifically for LinkedIn, my singular mission is to get the attention of the people who could potentially hire Good Monster as an agency. That's it. That is why I put effort into creating content on LinkedIn. There's definitely other things that I do. It's not every single thing that I do on LinkedIn is mapping to that mission, but that is my main mission. For instance, I comment on friends and colleagues' posts when they're inspiring or when they did something great. I love congratulating people when they got a promotion or they got a new client or they learned something new. That's just me, wanting to support people and being a good friend or a colleague. I like to share things. I actually shared a post today of something that I did for one of my team members halfway across the world. So I like to share things that are inspiring also. Is that have an end game? No, not really. But it's good to share that. It's relatable. It's inspiring. And it's just something I like to do. But 80 to 90% of the content that I put out or the comments that I leave on posts and the community management that I do is mapping to that goal of showing marketing leaders that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to e-commerce, and so does my agency, Good Monster. So in the, sorry, I'll tick on my throat. I got to keep drinking this water. In the section to the right here, type in your singular mission. Or if you don't know what your singular mission is now, type in a few of them. Type in 2 or 3, potential missions. Because many of you out there are like, well, I don't know. I want these 3 things. And I'm not sure which one is more important right now. You might have a full-time job, but you might have a side gig at the same time. That's a tricky boat to be in because you might be trying to grow your personal brand. You might be trying to grow your side hustle in order to leave your job at some point. So how do you know what to post about? Do I post about my personal brand? Do I post about my side hustle, or do I post about my current job? And if I post about my side hustle, is my current job going to get pissed? So you have to sort of figure that out. Every business is different. Every person is different. I can't really give advice on that, except you need to know what your current job will tolerate or encourage based on what you're posting. And you do have to know that they're looking at your LinkedIn. But out of those things, it's important that you do try to come up with a singular mission if you can. If you can't, then you're going to have to split it into 2. So that might be, well, I want to support my current job because I am very appreciative that they're giving me a paycheck and they're allowing me to have a side hustle. So I'm going to post cultural things that are happening at my company and good things that are happening and share awards that we're getting and all that kind of stuff. But I'm also going to talk about my journey starting my side hustle, and I'm going to use my personal brand to do that. That's one way to do it. But if you can get to a singular mission, it makes it much easier for you because every time you go to post something, you can say, well, is this going to build my authority in the e-commerce space? Is this going to show people that that they can trust me with their e-commerce business or not? And then you can make the decision of whether you want to post it or not. Also, it makes it very clear to anybody looking at your profile or anybody that's seeing your content um, what you do. There's no confusion. And you can see now if you're posting about maybe you're a tech account executive at an IT company. If you're posting about tech and your IT company and awards that you're getting as your main job, but then you're also posting about cooking because you're trying to become an amateur chef with your own line of spices, it's confusing, right? One post is about IT, the next is about spices, and it might get a little bit confusing. So try to come up with your singular mission, write them in the right side below. And important tip, as you can see below in the deck here, fight the urge to be everything to everyone. Instead, be one thing to one person, then grow from there. This is a really good marketing and business tip, and you've heard it plenty of times before. Niche down to a singular message and niche down to trying to impress or engage or connect with one type of person. Because if you can master that, it makes it much easier to then move over to a different type of person or to expand your content a little bit more. But if you start really wide and you start with so many different types of content and you're trying to target so many different kinds of people, it's going to be hard for people to like mentally latch on to what does this person do? And if they can't do that, they're gone. They're distracted, right? So it's going to be harder to grow your personal brand. Okay, next slide. Before I get into the next slide, just a reminder that next Friday, we're going to be doing another webinar. Typically, we're going to do these every Fridays. The next Friday's webinar is going to be how to improve conversions on your website. So whether you're in the B2B space or you are in the direct-to-consumer space, e-commerce, you want to convert more people on your website. You either want to convert them to leads or you want to convert them to customers. And so we're going to talk about one of the main things Good Monster does, which is help companies convert more leads and customers on their website. So I'm going to go through our process, not like a sales pitch. We're not going to pitch Good Monster sales. We're just going to talk about our process of how we do that in an effort to show you how important it is to do that on your own website. So, Kenyo, do you want to pop up the QR code here where they can? Yeah, perfect. You can scan the QR code right here on the screen and it'll bring you to the register page. You can register that, put it in your calendar so you don't forget. All right. So moving on. All right. Who do you want to influence? So I mentioned just a bit ago that trying to influence too many people means you probably will influence nobody. You need to have a niche. You need to have a kind of a focus. Otherwise, other people can't focus on what you're putting out. Okay. So don't try to directly influence people because that's called sales, right? So if you're the person you're trying to influence, let's say, are the buyers of people in the food service space, right? Maybe you have a product that you're trying to sell. And so you're trying to attract product buyers, merchandisers, whatever. If that's your person, you wouldn't want to post content all the time that's like, hey, here's my products. Here's my products. Here's what I'm selling. We can get a 50% off discount on this from, now until a week from now. If you're constantly posting product info and all the features and things like that, that's selling. And selling, believe it or not, really doesn't have a place in LinkedIn, at least not in the way that sort of sounds, right? Salesy, selling, salesperson, anything like that is going to turn people off. Because even though LinkedIn is professional, even though LinkedIn has a massively valuable program called Sales Navigator, which we'll talk about at the end, it is not a place to directly sell people. If you want examples of this, just look in your LinkedIn direct message inbox. You probably have a host of people who are in-mailing you and asking you for meetings and saying, can I have 15 minutes of your time? They're all selling you, and it doesn't work. You can also find the example of that you probably don't answer them. That's why sales don't work on LinkedIn, at least not in the traditional sense. Building your brand, being a good person, being helpful, being valuable, that type of sales will work. And that's where content marketing comes in. But it's very important that you focus on one type of person if you can. If you can't focus on one position, maybe you have 3 or 4 positions or job titles that you're targeting, whether it's I want to be hired by this person or this company, or I want to get them as a customer. You want to try to figure out who is the decision maker, we'll call them. Who is the person or people or group of people or department that will make a decision of whether to hire you as a job candidate or to hire you as a vendor or to buy your stuff as a customer? Who do you want to influence? Once you figure out, by the way, use the workbook to the right, begin typing your plan here. Write in who those people are. Once you write in who those people are, I want you to sort of split this into 2 columns if you can, or just, 2 sections. In section 1, write the type of stuff that they do not want to see or hear. What kinds of things will they not respond to? You know your industry best. What types of things will turn them off? Again, generally it's going to be sales type stuff, right? Hey, can I get 15 minutes of your time to talk about, our products and why they're so great? That won't do well in almost any industry. What types of things do they not really care about? This is probably going to be maybe some personal stuff. I love the Los Angeles Rams. It's draft day. Well, yesterday was draft day. But they don't have any draft. They don't have any first round or second round drafts. Anyways, I digress. I love the Los Angeles Rams, but I don't post about the Los Angeles Rams on LinkedIn because 99.999% of other people that I'm connected with on LinkedIn don't care about the Los Angeles Rams. Now, if I had a story that was relevant that I thought was valuable for other people who don't like the Los Angeles Rams, I could share it and include the Los Angeles Rams in it. But generally, I wouldn't do that. And so you're going to want to put that in your content that they would not be impressed by or that would not engage them. Once you write some of the things that would avoid them from engaging with you or your content, now have a separate section of things that they would engage. And the best way to do this is to build their avatar, build the who they are. Like, what is their job title? What are their hopes, dreams, and fears? What are their interests? If they're a chief marketing officer, chances are their interests are going to be how to hire and recruit and maintain top talent, how to prove ROI to their leadership, how to stay up with marketing technology. Those are some of the things that a chief marketing officer is going to be concerned about. They're also probably going to be concerned about global supply chain. So if they're concerned about their global supply chain, if their global supply chain is struggling, which a lot of businesses are right now, how do they expect to have a good ROI from their marketing if people can't buy the products because they can't get the products? So this type of content is going to attract a chief marketing officer. So in the section to the right, again, who are you trying to influence? Build out their avatar? What's their job title? What's their geographical location? What are their hopes, dreams, and fears as a professional? What are they interested in? What are their biggest concerns right now? Write that out. And then you can use this to create your content plan for what types of content you want to put out based on what you're confident in talking about and what authority you want to build. Okay. Next, I love this one. So I got this term, attractive character, from a book. It's called .com Secrets by Russell Brunson, I think his name. He's a marketer. He builds out funnels. So some of you probably don't know who he is, but he uses this term, attractive character, in describing somebody who's likable. And I think this is really important in putting out content. You don't want to fake it. You don't want to seem like you're not being authentic or true to yourself. So you don't want to create a fake attractive character in most cases, but you want to find your own attractive character. What I mean by this is you want to try to find the reasons people are attracted to you. It could be you're funny. It could be you're highly skilled. It could be you are very knowledgeable. It could be you're a good public speaker. It could be you're a good writer. It could be a million different things. One of the best ways that I've found to find your own attractive character is to just think about why the last couple of companies hired you, right? That's the start. First thing, why did they hire you? Were you qualified? Did you crush your interview and they were just impressed by your public speaking and your confidence? So why did that last company hire you? The next step after you figure that out is to think about why your friends and community, non-family, because they're stuck with you in most cases, why your friends and community respects you. What do they like about you? Are you empathetic? Are you friendly? Are you helpful? Do you fix their problems all the time? Are you super handy mechanic and you fix their cars all the time? Whatever it might be. Okay. In the space to the right, write out what makes you attractive to the people around you. Now, the job question, why did people hire you? That's specific to your profession. Okay. That's specifically like I was skilled or I was confident or I had good EQ. I read the room really great, whatever that is. Now, the personal side, why do you have friends? Why do you have a community? That's more of your like your soft skills. I'm always there to help. I'm always trying to help. If you're a good helper and you like helping other people, then you could start to put out content that is helping people in your industry learn new topics, okay, or learn new subjects that they care about. So finding your attractive character will help you figure out what kind of content to put out. Now, this leads to another question that I get all the time, or quite a bit. What kind of content do I put out? I'm not comfortable on camera. I've never been on camera. I don't feel like I don't want to put my face out there. I'm self-conscious. I don't think I talk very well. I don't like the sound of my voice. There's lots of different reasons, right? Or it could be writing. I'm not a good writer. I have grammar mistakes all the time. I feel like I don't write in an engaging way. Or design. I don't know how to design, so I can't put out graphics like that. Well, this is where finding your attractive character can come in. And this is the last little thing I want you to write on the bottom is how do I best communicate with people? So once you've found or written down, why did the last jobs hire you? The last companies hire you? Why do I have friends and communities, members that respect me? The last one is, how do I best communicate? And in relation to content, it's a relatively simple question. Do you do any sort of public speaking or teaching in and around your business or in your community? If so, video is probably a great platform for you. If you don't do any educating, public speaking, or teaching in any way, and that's not your thing, then video is probably going to be tough for you. You might want to default then to written posts and text posts. Text is really easy. You can do it in the mobile app, LinkedIn mobile app. I actually have some tools at the end of this webinar that could be helpful for you for long form content. And there are so many design apps that you could create quote cards, like Canva is one really widely used one. There's also Photoshop has an app now that I think is either free or really low cost. And there's a million other ones. So you could design graphics with quotes on there or statistics or information based on your industry that's valuable. And you could post that on your personal LinkedIn as well. So you need to figure out your attractive character in order to figure out what people respect about you so that when you're creating content, you can now distribute that respect across the digital landscape via video, text, photos, or graphics, right? So hopefully that you found that helpful. Attractive character, I think, is really, really important. It's something I never thought of at the beginning. At the beginning, when I was creating content, I was just sort of like, well, I'm just going to start. I'm going to create videos and I'm going to put them out there. And I didn't really think anything about it. And then I read the book, .com Secrets, and I was like, oh, he's talking about creating an attractive character so people find authority. So as you're writing sales copy, which is what the book is about, they instantly have trust in order to keep reading. So you need to kind of identify that attractive character. And I started to think about that in my own content. And I said, I actually asked my team members and my friends and colleagues what I do best. Why do they respect me, or what do they like and don't like about what I say, or, content that I put out or what I talk about. And I use that to sort of narrow in my attractive character. And my attractive character is honesty and knowledge about marketing and e-commerce, and my incessant curiosity. So it can definitely be annoying for certain people in my life that I'm always sort of trying to like change and figure things out and make them better. But it's also that experimentation is what leads to progress and advancement. So my attractive character is best suited in video to explain topics and to teach, specifically about marketing. And video works really well for me. So I put out a lot of content on video, and then we use that video to then create other content like graphics and photos and things like that. So use your section on the right here to describe your attractive character. All right, let's talk about some LinkedIn features and channels. Channels just meaning spaces on LinkedIn that you can put out your content or get engagement. So whoops, lost my sheet over here. Okay. So No Brainer is the LinkedIn feed. That is your main feed. And I'm going to actually share my screen here. Bear with me a moment. We're going to go share screen. We're going to go over here and share. Okay. So here we are on LinkedIn. So let's talk about some of the features here. At the top of your home section is where you're going to find most of your posting tools. So you can see up here, start a post. You can post a photo and then add a caption to it. You can add a video up to 10 minutes right now for most of you with a caption. You could post a job here if you want, and you can write a long form article. We'll get into this in just a moment. The types, I didn't even mention this. You can just write text. I can just write a text post, add links, things like that right in here. So the types of posts that do the best on LinkedIn, unlike other platforms, videos right now actually don't perform the best. Text posts and photos or static posts, graphics, those do the best generally. So as I scroll down here, you're going to see mostly that text right here. Okay, here's a video, photo. Oh, Sean Riley. He's actually one of the case studies I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes. Photo, graphic, photo. So LinkedIn is right now mostly a static platform. I think eventually that'll change, but right now that's the way it is. Okay. So you're going to post all that stuff right here at the top. Okay. If you want to see your content, you can click into your profile here, or you can go up here to me, scroll down, posts and activity. And here it'll show, here's the video, the live video we're watching right now. I can see my posts. I can see the articles, or I can see documents. I don't think I've posted any documents, at least not in a while. Oh, this is interesting. So documents are basically PDFs, and PDFs can appear as a kind of a slideshow right in the LinkedIn feed. Okay. So that's super interesting. So you can take like you can take like 3 or 4 graphics and put them all together almost like a slideshow here. And that appears really cool and super engaging. Here's something I did a while ago. WTF is an NFT. Quick little slide on that. And so you upload that as a PDF, and you can do it right in here. Click on here, and then down here, there's a little, what looks like a paper icon. That's where you can add in a PDF. You can share any PDF. It doesn't have to be something you create. You can download a PDF from an association that you're part of and share it, and then add your comments in the caption. That can help you build authority. That's a really good lesson too, is that you don't always have to create your own content. You can curate content from other people, share it, add comments to it, and use that, especially if it's difficult for you to create your own content. And then you can do other things here. Um, you can create a poll. This is somewhat new, but this is a good way to engage or get information or ask advice. You can ask a question and then give people options to vote. So right here, this is where you're going to post most of your content. Excuse me. And then this one. So this write an article. This is a really cool section. I use this quite a bit. So I'm going to click write an article. I have a bunch of different companies that are attached to my profile. Some are mine, some are clients. But who do you want to write the article as? I'm going to hit next. And then here is your long form article platform. Headline, you can drag in a featured photo, and then down here is where you start writing, whatever it is you want to write. Okay. Like this little thing here, this little icon, you can add an image, a video, you can add slides right to your long form article. You can add links, and you can even add like a little snippet. This is basically like writing a blog post directly on LinkedIn. So you could share a blog post that you wrote on your website, or you could write it directly on LinkedIn. So what we do, or what I do, and my team supports me, is we'll write a blog post for my blog, jtimmerman.com. We'll post it there, but then we'll take the same exact blog post and we'll post it over here on LinkedIn because we want LinkedIn's algorithm to show it to more people. And if I post it natively here on LinkedIn, generally, it'll show it to more people than if I post just the blog link on my LinkedIn. And to take it one step further, recently LinkedIn has this sneaky little feature called newsletters, where you can actually create a newsletter. Mine is called Business is a Beast. It's a weekly newsletter. And people that subscribe to Business is a Beast will get notified every time I post a new article. You can also just create an individual article that's not part of the newsletter. So this might be useful if you do have sort of two purposes or goals with LinkedIn. If you have a full-time job and you want to, stay in good graces with them and still promote that company, you can create individual articles about that, what you do at that company. But then you can have a newsletter that's more focused on your side hustle. And so people who are interested in your side hustle stuff can subscribe to your newsletter, and they'll get notified anytime one of those newsletters come out, whereas they won't be notified when this individual article comes out that has nothing to do with your side hustle. I found a lot of success with newsletters. I think LinkedIn seems to be promoting it. So I actually don't know for sure how many followers or subscribers I have. Let me see here. 1,477 subscribers to my newsletter, Business is a Beast. And I post on here once a week, sometimes twice a week. So it's a nice little feature here. It's really great. Okay. So newsletter search features are next. So the search bar is pretty powerful. So when you're creating content, I mentioned some good ways to make sure that you're focusing on who you're trying to attract, who you're trying to influence, what your goal is of LinkedIn. Are you trying to get hired? Are you trying to get new business? Are you trying to win customers? Whatever your goal is, and whoever you're trying to influence, you can go up to the search bar and you can search, whoever it is you're trying to influence to see what kind of content they're posting about. So I'm just going to write Chief Marketing Officer, and I'm going to scroll in here, Chief Marketing Officer. And then it gives you options to sort of filter this down. So am I looking for people? Am I looking for a chief marketing officer job? Am I looking for events, posts, groups, courses, schools, companies, services? Or I can go into all filters here and sort of filter out location and specific companies. Also, it's worth noting that LinkedIn Sales Navigator is like this on steroids. So if you're really, you're either really trying to go all in and go hard on this, and you're really trying to be very specific and target a very specific type of job and you want to learn everything that they're concerned about and what they're posting about and where they are, you can use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is a paid service, to really filter out everything and all the positions and all the interests and details on LinkedIn. But this is like a high level version of that. And for most of you, this is all you really need, is just this basic search feature. So Chief Marketing Officer, I'm going to search, I want to see people. So I'm going to go and I'm going to click on a couple of these Chief Marketing Officers, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to look at their profile. I'm going to see what they have featured. Okay. This person has how to be a better brand storyteller. So she's obviously focused on telling stories. Very important in marketing. Why coronavirus may spark the next TV advertising. So she obviously thinks this is interesting. By the way, this is featured. So she either wrote it or her company wrote it, or she commented on it, my guess is. But I'm going to scroll down here too, and I'm going to see show all activity. And I can see what she posted or what she commented on or what she liked, right? And I can filter that out. So articles here. She hasn't written any articles. Posts. Here's some posts that she shared. Documents, no documents. So I can go through and I can see what she's posting about. And I can create an Excel spreadsheet and I can put in some of the interests and things she's posting about. And I can do this with 20 other chief marketing officers. I can compare the results. And that may give me some inspiration as to what I should be creating content surrounding if I want somebody like Brittany Slattery to care. Okay, so back to search. Boom. Okay, if I want to look at other posts about chief marketing officers covered in the news or media or people sharing stories about chief marketing officers for the same purpose, just seeing what this industry cares about, what these people care about, this search bar is really valuable. And after I clicked on post, you can see I can filter it out even more. Okay, posted by First Connections or by me, date posted. So maybe you want trending news or relevant time sensitive news. It can sort by the latest post or the top match based on what LinkedIn thinks about from a particular company. I can add the company's name in. The industry. So if I want only chief marketing officers in the, automotive space, I can type that in here. So search is really, really valuable. In addition, when you're using search, there's this thing called Boolean Search. It means you can use different characters and features to really focus into what specifically you're looking for. So I already searched this. I'm going to use this one. I use the quotes here. Technology journalist. I put that in quotes. Capital and quote San Francisco, end quote. So I'm looking for only technology journalists, and they need to be in San Francisco. So here are my results. Okay, this person is a journalist in San Francisco. This person is a tech journalist in San Francisco. This person is a business and technology journalist in San Francisco. So those are people. Posts. This post is talking about, that looks like Kara Swisher. I think that is. She's a famous tech journalist. Oh yeah, Kara Swisher right there. Technology journalist. There it is. And my guess is because she's in Silicon Valley a lot, like they're talking about in San Francisco. So now it's pulling in posts with both of those things. And I can go through the same search features and it will try to find technology journalist and San Francisco content in all of these different things. Good for jobs too. If you're looking for a job, if you're looking for a technology journalist job in San Francisco, then some of these things might work. The one downside here is, as you can see, is it's not a downside, but so many jobs are remote now that you're going to get so many of these big companies running job ads that are national. Like there is no, focus on a particular area where you need to live or work. So typing in San Francisco might not pull up what you want. But you can easily go here and type in San Francisco. And it'll bring in that kind of stuff. Okay. Couple more things here, and then we're going to get to our final section. Probably going to go, looks like we're going over a little bit. Don't worry, this thing will be downloaded, and you can watch it later if you have to jump. But instant messaging. So instant messaging or direct messaging on here, it's tough because right now there's a lot of spam. So if I went to my notifications here and direct messages, whoops, that's not where I want to go. Messaging. If I go to my messaging here and I go to direct messages, it's a lot of people reaching out trying to like sell me stuff. But then I do have some other things in here of people reaching out, asking for advice or just chatting. So this area, depending on who you are, could be tons of spam, but you can use direct messaging to your benefit. Now, people don't always read their direct messages, so you do have to keep that into account. But direct messaging is particularly valuable if your goal is to get advice. Advice. Not trying to use advice to sell them something or, asking for something that is a high burden to them. But for instance, or another example is if your advice is who should I talk to at your company about buying my product? Another thing that doesn't work generally. But if you're generally asking advice to somebody saying, I'm really struggling with this thing in my industry. You look like you know what you're talking about. Is there any chance you could give me 1 to 2 sentences on how you would, overcome this challenge? I'd be forever grateful and I'll do whatever you want. That type of message stands a good chance of getting a reply if they see it. Okay. So direct messages can be valuable for that one specific use. Okay. Moving on. I'm going to stop sharing this and how to build a community. So this is honestly something that I struggle with because I'm number one, so busy. I fill my time with so many different things professionally and content and putting out content. So I'm so focused right now. I aim to change this at putting out content that I think is valuable for other people to consume. But to truly maximize LinkedIn's community building, you should really go and comment on other people's posts in an authentic and valuable way. Okay. So this isn't posts like where you're spamming, you copy the same post and you comment on every other person's post who's in your industry and saying like, hey, check out this ebook I just wrote. Check out this ebook. That stuff won't work. But if you're genuinely commenting on other people's posts, maybe they're asking questions, you're filling out their polls, and then you're leaving a comment, you're giving advice, you're sharing your opinions and your thoughts, you're congratulating people who are posting about their awards and accolades. That type of work can really help you build your brand as an empathetic, authentic person. So my goal, now that I've, with my team, built out a content system, is to start to engage with more people on LinkedIn, help them with their content by commenting and adding value to the conversations that they're starting. So the pro tip here is be authentic. Don't be transactional. I mentioned I still struggle with this. So if I was typing in my own section here to the right, I would type in the types of people that I'm targeting and what I want them to come away with after I've commented on their post. So I want them to think, wow, this person was very kind and helpful. That's it. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to scan all the content out there. I'm going to go search Chief Marketing Officer. I'm going to search posts, and then I'm going to search, or I'm going to look through those posts and I'm going to comment on the ones where I feel like I can add value. And I'm going to say, have a great day. And I'm going to do that over and over and over again, as many times as I remember, or as many times as I schedule in my calendar, remember. And over time, that will help people see who I am. They're going to get curious. They're going to click on my profile and they're going to look at my profile and my content. And that will snowball into, more engagement and more followers. Okay. So right into the right-hand side, what your plan is for building a community. Okay. I know we're over. I apologize. Let's get through this here. So here are some case studies. Download this and click on them. I will share my screen real fast because I want to show you a few of these. So Shay Rowbottom is actually one of the people who inspired me to start creating more content on LinkedIn. She is she's a LinkedIn coach. She helps other people figure out how to build their own authority on LinkedIn, much like I'm doing right now. But she's a professional. So if you're really having trouble doing it yourself, go hire Shay Rowbottom because she knows her stuff. She talks a lot about vulnerability. She has a niche of creating content around things that generally are not on LinkedIn, and she's very successful. She's got almost 800,000 followers. Her content gets a lot of love, hundreds or thousands of likes and comments and engagement. And, some people don't think that belongs on LinkedIn, but there's a huge amount of people that, need to hear more about mental health and vulnerability and how to use that to your strength. And so this is all the content that she posts about, and it does really well. She experiments with a lot of different kinds of content. So here's videos that she puts out. She does a lot of long form posts because that will help pick up in search, LinkedIn search. And she'll experiment with static graphics, but she does a great job. So follow her and watch what she does. Be inspired by her, and you can hopefully use that to your own benefit. So she's like a LinkedIn influencer. Now, in contrast, let's look up Sean Riley. He's also on the deck. Sean Riley is the chief executive dude at Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes it's a wet wipe for your butt. And they have a very specific product, clearly for men, dudes. And they have a very funny brand. And he posts, just really off the cuff, entertaining, fun content. And it's all around the success or trials and tribulations of them trying to grow their brand from nothing. He talks about being the David in a world of Goliaths, so they started, without the backing of like Procter and Gamble, and that's their competitor, Procter and Gamble and Unilever, and they're still growing more rapidly than all of them. So he posts content similar to something like this. The dudes are going meta, the future of pooping. And he puts his little product up here, right? Like just stuff that, again, historically you wouldn't see on LinkedIn, and it works. It hits. It's engagement, So he's another example. Let me pick one other one from the deck. Let's see here. Let's go with Rashaan Copeland. So Rashaan, this is a good example because Shay Rowbottom is already an influencer. So you might be thinking, well, I can't compete with her. She's already an influencer. Sean Riley is the CEO of a fast-growing company. So LinkedIn's putting priority here. Well, Rashaan Copeland is, should be nobody. He's not a part of a massive company. He's not the CEO of, an emerging company. He just puts out really good content, and he's authentic. And let's see. Here we go. Here's a good one. How do I get to this? Tells a story. Today I went to Dunkin' Donuts. I saw a clearly homeless guy sitting on the side of the road and picking up the change. Eventually I saw him stroll into Dunkin'. He was counting his change to buy something. I began to get super annoyed and talking to him over and over again, even though he didn't really want to talk. So he goes through, he tells this story, and, I don't want to read the whole thing because I know we're short on time, but he's sharing a story about something that he actually did. Now, actually, this looks like he shared somebody else's story, which is okay. It's still inspiring. It's still got a lot of comments and engagement. So he's just a regular guy that shares content that's inspiring, motivational, and it works. And now here he is with a following of 25,000 followers and really good engagement on his posts. And people, without a doubt, click through, look at what he does, and they're like, oh, what's this book that he's the author of? So those are some examples of people. Obviously, I put myself there at the bottom. Shameless plug, but you can check out me. Hopefully you follow me and you can get some inspiration of the way that I'm doing it, because I started from nowhere. I don't work for a big company. I do own a company, but we're not massive. We're small, relatively unknown, and I'm growing my brand. I think I have 10 or 11,000 followers now just because I'm trying to put out good content. Okay, we're going to end this thing. Here we go. More tips. Use Jasper.ai to write your newsletters. Jasper.ai is an AI writing tool. So if you want to write long form content, you don't have the time, or you don't think you're a good writer, go sign up for Jasper.ai. It will help you. Next, write text only posts of things that you would find helpful or engaging. So think about your own self and what you would find helpful or engaging if you were reading a post. Think about what knowledge you can share and just write a text only post. It's quick, it's easy. You can do it in 5 minutes. You can do it a few times a day, and just keep doing that until you figure out what works. Share personal pictures every once in a while. Remember, you're human and they are too. So this is something that I really would like to do more, because I'm big on culture and work-life balance and finding happiness amongst all the professional drive that I and we all have. So I want to start sharing more personal pictures showing working from home, and maybe me engaging with my kids, because it's all relatable and we're all human. Share videos only if it's your thing. Don't force yourself. You don't need to. Hire a designer. If you can't use Canva, you don't want to do it, you have no desire to do it, then hire a designer to take your content, take your text posts or your pictures, and create nice little graphics that you can share on LinkedIn. Share all of your wins and be grateful for them. So don't share your wins like you're bragging. Share your wins like you're grateful for the opportunity to win, or the people that helped you support you to win, and be very grateful for it. And make sure you write that and you thank them and you tag them. Those types of posts show that you're human, you're a good person, and you're very grateful for the support that you are getting to help grow your company or yourself. Share even more of your losses. This really makes you human. This is hard to do. We don't like to admit when we fail, but remember, failure is the best education, not only for yourself, but for other people. So if you lost a client, you learned something really, really insightful that you didn't have any idea was there. Share that, because you would not believe how many other people that will help. Okay. That's it. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, you can pop them in the comments right here. I'll stay on for a few minutes of anybody that does have any questions. Remember, we're going to be going live again next Friday. I'll try to keep these shorter and more concise to keep them in under an hour. But we're going to be talking about how to improve the conversions or increase the conversions on your website. You can scan the QR code on the screen right now. You can see the one to the left. If you have any feedback for me or my team, scan that QR code to the left and just leave a couple thoughts there that will help us create better, more valuable webinars and live streams for you. And the next webinar is on the right there. You can scan that one and it will take you to the sign up form there. And we will see you all next week. Kino, did I miss anything? Are we good? Jana, you're too kind. Thank you. Thanks to my team. A lot of my team attended here. Thank you for the support, everybody. I hope these keep adding value to everybody across the planet. All right. I think we're good. All right, everybody. Have an amazing Friday, an amazing weekend, and we'll see all of you next week. Bye.